Next up, our county chair candidates, Mike Drury and Mark Ary. There you go. All right.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for attending tonight, taking the time to be here and listen to all these candidates and what everyone has to say. It's very important to become educated on what's going on, especially the last couple years in America with everything that's happened. I'm honored to be here. My name is Mark Ary. My beautiful wife, Karis, out here. I have a daughter who's 17, Kaylee, a 7-year-old daughter, Gemma, and my boy who's 1.5 years old, Lincoln. I was born and raised here in Decatur, Texas. I have roots planted in this community. I'm a second-generation business owner, and I love my community. My passion for helping my community and to make things better has been in my heart since I was a young man. That is what has put me in the position to run for this position, and I hope to be your next GOP chair.
Thank you. Mr. Drury.
Hey, I'll do tonight. My name is Mike Drury, and I'm a 12th generation American. My family immigrated from England to the continent in 1635. I'm blessed to be married to my beautiful wife, Karen. My son is, I have 2 grown children, a beautiful granddaughter. My son's a San Antonio firefighter and a former combat Marine veteran. My daughter is a successful businesswoman in North Carolina. I've been a dedicated voting Republican throughout my life. Last year, I got educated, active, and learned when we get active, our voices are heard in Austin. 35 years ago, I started off in a ditch as a laborer. Today, I'm a successful project manager. I'm ready to take this job on. Everything in my career has prepared me for this job. The Republican Party needs a leader who can organize, educate, and activate our precinct chairs. Having 5,600 of 44,000 registered Republicans turning out to vote is unacceptable.
Oops. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Go ahead and keep it, please. Keep the mic. Mr. Drury. Okay. Now you have a minute to answer this question. What is the most critical issue facing the Wise County Republican Party, and what will you do as the newly elected county chair to address this issue?
Good question. The most critical issue facing this county is our apathy. We, as a county, believe that we're red and we're strong. However, we have, like I alluded to a minute ago, we had 5,600 people out of 44,000 registered Republicans in the county turn out to vote. With the amount of growth that you heard about tonight that JD was talking about, we will not be able to survive a wave of any kind of liberals coming into this county. If we want to stand up, we've got to get educated. We've got to get precinct chairs sat. We've got to get those precinct chairs active in their communities, growing the voter, get them excited to come out and vote. Because without that vote, we don't have a voice. If we don't have a voice, we don't exist to Austin. So we got to stand strong, and the vote, getting people out to vote is absolutely the most paramount thing we have to do.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Mr. Ary.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yes, absolutely. What is the most critical issue facing the Wise County Republican Party, and what will you do as the newly elected county chair to address this issue?
Well, that's a simple question to me, and thank you. Unity is what we're lacking in the Wise Republican Party here in Wise County. Like I said, I've been involved for many years, and I think that we've split off into a few factions, which is fine and well, but it's time to come together as one Wise Republican Party instead of being splintered off into factions. I do believe that my lifelong residence here in Decatur will help guide me through bringing the people together. I have formed a lot of relationships through business and otherwise, and I think that will help carry us to strengthen the local Republican Party. We can't go anywhere until we're united as one.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
Just look around you tonight. The questions were from 4 different Republican clubs in the county. I think we can check that box off. This is a united Republican Party. We are coming together under one roof. This has never happened before where everybody comes together. So now that we're together, we're always going to have different clubs or different factions that we believe in. But we've mended those fences. We're together. We're one. Now we have to focus on getting the vote out. We're going to get killed if we don't.
Thank you. Okay, this is from Wise County Conservatives. The Republican Party of Wise County represents a vast array of conservative voices to include small towns, suburban homeowners, and larger properties. What will you do to ensure that each entity has a voice and measured presence in the Wise County Republican Party?
Well, that's a great question, and the thing to do to make sure that everyone's voice is heard is simply let people know what you're doing. Educate people on what is taking place in our party and throughout the county so people have the ability to get involved. What I've come to find is most people don't even know what's going on to be able to put themselves out there and get involved. So I believe that's going to be a combination of social media, face-to-face, block walking, holding events, and various other things. But in order to get people involved, they have to know about what's taking place. So getting the message out is imperative.
Thank you. Mr. Drury?
Fundamental to the whole thing, I got an education on it this year. Each precinct, and there's 28 now in this county, has a precinct chair, or should have one. This year, we went from having 7 to I believe we're at 20 precinct chairs now. We need to fill more. Those precinct chairs need to be held accountable to go out in their communities and help educate their communities and bring them together, because we've got people in small rural areas, and we've got also people in very dense populated areas. But the facts are, when you go block walking right now, and the number one question I've been asking is, do you know who your precinct chair is? And have they ever contacted you? And overwhelmingly, nobody's ever heard of it. No one knows what they are. So it hasn't been effective. And if I'm elected, it will be effective, because you can hold me accountable to that. We have to get the public educated. We have to get them getting out to vote. And the only way you do that is by local people in their precinct that they know doing it for them.
So Mike is right. Precinct chairs are, for many years, up until last year, I think we had maybe half of what we have now. For whatever reason, the Wise Republican Party had not strengthened the party with precinct chairs. I will say the Wise County Conservatives, and give them a pat on the back, they've worked hard to bring in good precinct chairs to help form this Republican Party. For those of you that don't know, we're in our infancy of forming this party. As Mike alluded to, we've strengthened it with maybe 20 some odd chairs now. We still have about 9 left to fill. But again, it all goes back to education, to let people know what's going on so they have the ability to be involved.
Thank you. Mr. Drury, this is from Wise Republican Women. Have you served the Republican Party up to this point? And if so, how?
I have never held an office in the Republican Party, but my entire life I've voted as a Republican. I've been a Republican. I was raised a conservative. I think the biggest thing is, what was the second part of that question, please?
Have you served the Republican Party up to this point?
Okay.
And if so, how?
And I would say in the past year, even though I didn't hold an office, I stepped up, saw the need that we needed precinct chairs. I worked behind the scenes with many people to make the changes that we have right now and get people seated in those spots, quality, good conservatives. And that's really exactly the job of the chair. That job wasn't being done. So I've served, and I didn't have the office.
Thank you.
Currently, I serve as the Precinct 9 chairman. That's the only position I've worked for in the party. But the work I've done politically has been extensive throughout the community for about the past 9 years in a multitude of ways. So I believe I have the experience to take this job and run with it.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Ary, this is from Concerned Women for America. With the redistricting, the voice of Wise County voters is crucial to keep our districts conservative. If elected, how do you propose to grow the Republican Party in Wise County and encourage active participation in the party and elections?
Great question. It kind of alludes to what I said earlier. It's all about educating people. It's all about getting the word out so people can see what's going on and make a decision if they want to be involved. To me, the main issue we've had in the past is getting the word out to people. I don't think there's anything more important than that. A multitude of ways, social media, block walking, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we have to do.
Thank you. Mr. Drury.
We have a major hole in the whole process in Wise County right now. Our average age of our voter is somewhere in the mid-50s, 60s right now. If you reach out to your hardcore Republican that's voting in the primaries, you're going to be hard-pressed to find the majority are in their 70s, 80s, even reached out to people in their 90s. We've got to do a better job of reaching out to our minority groups and our young adults. If we don't get those two groups involved, and then the rest of us in the room involved, we're going to lose this fight. So it just can't be understated. You have to reach out to these minority groups, and you have to reach out to young people. Young people are the key to our success for our future.
Do you have a rebuttal to that?
Any rebuttal to that?
I'm sorry?
Any rebuttal to that?
Oh, we don't get rebuttal, sorry.
Okay. So let's go back to Mr. Drury. This is from the Patriot Society of Boyd. The county chair is a very time-demanding volunteer position. You will preside over county executive meetings. You will run the primary election. Your job is to grow the party. The commitment could be challenging to someone with full-time employment and a family. Tell us how your schedule will allow you time for training to properly administer the elections, to be available to your precinct chairs, campaigns, the press, and the community in general.
Well, if you've been involved in an election, as I'm being involved in right now, you find out really quick it's an all-volunteer job with a time-demanding, crazy thing. Both my children are grown. My wife and I are empty nesters. We're both invested in this process. She is my better half for sure, and we are both 100% invested in it. My job allows me to have a lot of latitude. It's performance-based, and I'm open for it. And, really, I'm doing it because my granddaughter is doomed if we don't succeed doing these things. So it's not just a matter of, do you have time? We all have to make time, not just me.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So it's very time demanding, this position, and it's volunteer. You will preside over county executive meetings. You will run the primary election. Your job is to grow the party. The commitment could be challenging to someone with full-time employment and a family. Tell us how your schedule will allow you time for training to properly administer the elections, to be available to your precinct chairs, campaigns, the press, and the community in general.
That's a great question, and for me personally, I'm blessed enough to be self-employed, so my schedule is very flexible. I have great management and staff in place that allow me to have that freedom and ability to chase my passions in my political career. Again, going back on my roots in this community, I know most everyone. I have a direct line with a local paper. Those relationships are going to help me grow this party, plain and simple.
Thank you. All right, we are actually down to our 2-minute close. Let's see, we started with Mr. Ary, so we'll start this time with Mr. Drury. 2 minutes to close.
Thank you very much for investing your time tonight. I really appreciate it. This forum is a job interview. I hope I have showcased who I am and why I want the opportunity to serve you. This race is not a popularity contest. It's about who you want to lead the party into the future. I'm asking for your vote because I am the right candidate for the job. I've proven I will stand up and take action to do hard things. But more than that, I have the skills to organize and lead our party into the future. Today, sadly, we need more involvement from our Republican minority and our young adult voters. We must reach out, welcome, and embrace these groups that have been ignored for far too long. I've worked hard to earn the endorsements of our SRECs, Jill Glover and Dave Wiley. These endorsements from these great patriots didn't come easy. I earned that. I have also earned public endorsements by many of our current precinct chairs. Being a chair isn't a status symbol. It takes hours and hours of hard work to lead effectively. I am currently leading, and I will continue to lead when I've earned your trust and your vote. Right now, the county needs a strong leader who will work hard to make a difference. I am that leader. Wise County's best days are ahead of us. I would be proud to accept your vote on March 1st. If you want to know more about me, sign up to help or donate, please go to druryforchair.com. I have a table set up in the back, and I would love to talk with you and give you a sign or just get to know me, and you can ask me more questions. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
I want to start out by thanking the Wise Republican Party, the Wise Republican Women, and the Wise County Conservatives for putting these forums on. This is the third one in a row, and this brings in participation, and it is so, so important. If there's anything I want you to take away from this forum, it's this. As your future GOP chair, I will work tirelessly to shore up the local party and unite us as one. My proven experience and deep roots in this community will be key to making the most of this role. I will listen to all of you in the party and not just the most outspoken ones. All of your voices matter. I have proven the ability to lead from the work I've done in the community, and I'm aware of the immense challenges we face as a party, and I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work. Being born and raised here in Decatur, coupled with my involvement, gives me advantage over my opponent, who is a great guy, but he's only been here for a few years. We need someone who understands our traditions and values in Wise County, and that person is me. I will come into this position knowing I have a lot to learn, and I'm eager to work. My vision for Wise County is to be an example for the rest of the 253 counties in the great state of Texas on how to utilize the system that was put in place for us to organize and strengthen our local Republican Party. I fear if we do not do this now, the chance of doing it in the future will be less and less. I'm committed to bettering our community through hard work, involvement, and most importantly, common sense. The country and state are changing rapidly, and it is our job to preserve what we hold so near and dear to our heart here in Wise County. And quite frankly, that's our way of life. Don't ever let anyone tell you your voice does not matter and that fighting doesn't do any good, because it absolutely does. I would be honored to have your support and your vote, and God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank y'all. I'm just going to take a privilege real quick and tell you again, I think the primary season is the best of all. Iron sharpens iron. There's nothing wrong with many people running for one office, so you can hear people's voice and hear what they stand for. I love this process, and I think you should too. And again, give everybody a huge round of applause for stepping up and running. Thank y'all.